He cheated on me, so now I'm gonna ruin his life. Story time. So my boyfriend of 3 years, Steve, had the audacity to cheat on me. He then had the audacity to tell me that if I was a mature adult, I'd be able to deal with it, but then went on to say that he hopes that we can still be friends. He made it quite clear that he had lost all feelings for me and was now in love with this new person. Not gonna lie, if he hadn't have said that, I definitely would not have done this plan. But at this point, I felt like I had to teach him a valuable lesson. So a few months after the breakup, he decided that it would be a great idea to send me pictures of him with a new girl. This would be followed by loads of laughing emojis. So one day I decided it was time for me to get back out there and I downloaded Tinder. So I'm scrolling and I recognised someone who is quite familiar. It was Steve's new girlfriend. Listen, I was not about to tell Steve that his new girlfriend was on Tinder. In fact, I took it one step further and I matched with her. And we instantly started chatting. And she had no idea who I was. It was very clear that Steve hadn't told her that he was in a relationship when they first started talking. We started talking more and more, the conversations were getting longer and longer. And after a few weeks of chatting, I had a plan. I suggested that we could meet each other in a bar. And bear in mind, she is still in a relationship with my ex, Uno Rivers. And the date went so well, so much so that one date went to many dates. Before long, I was her full-blown affair. So let's call this girl Amy. And what Amy didn't know was that I also got in touch with my ex-boyfriend's ex-girlfriend, who we'll call Stacey. Now, Stacey and Steve had broken up a few months before I got with him because she decided that she was gay. Oh, I love it when a plan comes together. So now I'm in contact with the new girlfriend and the ex-girlfriend. When talking with Amy, she had expressed that she had always wondered what it would be like to be in a polyamorous relationship with 2 girls. I said, well, let me make a few calls, Amy, and see what I can sort. So I call up Stacey and I'm like, hey, babes, do you want to maybe meet a friend of mine? We can have a good time. And to my surprise, she actually said yes, which don't ask me how that happened. So the day came and I decided to act with violence. I led them both to my bedroom, and whilst we were all sat on my bed, I took a quick selfie. Then of course things went down, use your imagination. So a few days after this, Amy comes to me and it's like, thank you so much for sorting that for me. It was so great. What can I do to repay you? And I was like, oh, just let me have a little think about that. And I was like, well, listen, I'm kind of sick of being a side piece. I'd like to have you all to myself. I kid you not, the next day she broke up with him and kicked him out of her house. He lost his house and his girlfriend in the space of a day. And I bet you're thinking, wow, great work on the revenge. I'm not done yet. Because he texted me with crying emojis saying how he's so sorry, but his girlfriend dumped him. And he realised that I was the one for him now and he wanted us to get back together. And I was like, oh, your girlfriend, is this who you mean? And I sent him the selfie that I took when we were all sat on my bed. So just to clarify, that means that all 3 of his now exes were in one picture in bed together. He started blowing up my phone, but I still wasn't done. There were 3 more things I needed to do. Firstly, I called his mum, who hates cheaters, because her husband, so Steve's dad, cheated on her. From what I know now, the mum has actually stopped speaking to Steve over it. The second thing I had to do was dump Amy because she was no use to me anymore. And there was no point starting a relationship with her because she was a cheater too, so... And the last thing I did was ask Stacey out on a date and we went on a fair few dates. And we actually now live together and we have a dog.
You don't like your boyfriend seeing me braless in the dorm? Then he won't. I live in a college dorm on an all-female floor. I usually wear a bra if leaving the dorm building, but I'm not going to put a bra on under my shirt just to walk down the hall to the bathroom. A few days ago, I left my room and walked 10 yards down the hall to the water fountain, refilled my water bottle, and went back to my room. I was wearing a white tank top and no bra. The tank top was fitted but not see-through, so you could see only the outline of my... There was a small group of people hanging out in the hall outside of a few of the rooms, but I didn't think much of it until around half an hour later when I got a knock on the door from one of the girls I'd seen in the hall. She said something to the effect of, quote, "Hey, so sorry to ask you this, but if you go out into the hall again, could you put a bra on? My boyfriend's out there and he was staring a little. So... I'm super non-confrontational. So I was like, yeah, sure. Sorry about that. And for the rest of that night, anytime I left my room, I put a bra or sweater on. And that was the end of it. Or so I thought. The next day, my roommate told me she'd overheard the girl telling a few of her friends about the incident while in the bathroom. She said the girl was making it sound like I'd been purposefully trying to seduce her boyfriend, wearing basically nothing, taking my time at the water fountain, posing to push out my the whole works. When she left the bathroom, my roommates said the girl was actually acting it out at the water fountain, pretending to be me. That night, I passed the girl and some of her friends on my way to go brush my teeth. I wasn't wearing a bra. I was already in my pajamas. The girl looked pointedly down at my chest and all of them started giggling. But the last straw was when the entire dorm got an email from the RA yesterday saying she'd gotten some anonymous complaints about people dressing inappropriately in the hallways and asking that we all just make sure we're keeping things covered up. So here's where I got my petty little revenge. I knew that the girl's boyfriend doesn't go to college here. The girl and I were in the same orientation group and chatted a bit back then. I also knew that due to the pandemic, we aren't allowed to have non-student/family guests in the dorms this year. So I used the same anonymous complaint form to issue a complaint about people bringing their off-campus boyfriends into our dorm and them not wearing a mask. Masks are mandatory in the hallways, although not frequently enforced. This morning, the RA emailed again, saying that due to an anonymous complaint, they'd be enforcing the no off-campus guest rule by checking IDs of unfamiliar guests to make sure they were students from then on. Really, this girl should be thanking me. If she was concerned about her boyfriend seeing the vague outline of my in the dorm hallways, she no longer needs to worry.
Story time. How I ended up slapping one of my college roommates. Little backstory while I tell you guys about this. So literally, I was class of 2020, so that means I had the drive-through graduation. I didn't have the traditional graduating, and I didn't have my traditional freshman year in college where, you know, you got to meet everybody, got to see everybody, and that definitely was my downfall. Let me just say that. Flash forward now to my sophomore year. I finally, you know, campuses are open. Everyone's super excited and everybody's moving on campus. I still didn't really know anybody because I didn't really chat with anybody during my online year. I just worked. So I didn't really have time to do all of that. So I was really excited for my sophomore year and the move-in day and everything, right? And my move-in day was pretty weird because I didn't actually get to meet my suite mates until like 2 weeks into school. So on my move-in day, I ended up meeting these other girls that I barely ever saw like after that day, like literally after that. But I did end up hanging out with one suite mate that seemed to always be home all the time. And so now me and her are hanging out, and her name's Ellen. We're gonna call her Ellen for right now. We're hanging out a lot more because I didn't have a roommate. I didn't get to pick my suite mates, and I didn't get to pick my roommate. So all the girls that I was gonna end up meeting for my first week of September were all strangers, and I was super duper nervous. But me and Ellen seemed to be pretty cool. You know, she had a cool vibe for the most part. We could chit chat, you know what I mean? We were both bored at home, so it was like, what else can we really do? I was too shy to go out and about on campus, and she just seemed to always be home. So I was like, okay, me and you can kick it. I should not have fucking done that. Eventually, I do meet all the rest of the girls, and they're super dope and super cool, right? And I'm like, okay, this is pretty nice. I ended up meeting Ellen's roommate, and that ended up becoming my best friend for like ever. Me and her are still in contact to this day. But when I got to meet the other girls, something really changed in Ellen. It was different. I started to notice that her energy would change when the girls would come home. Like, instead of me and her just kikiing it up, she would try to make fun of me. She'd be like, oh, look at her. She's so fucking full of herself. And I'd be like, wait, did Ellen just say that about me? Or she'd just be like, yeah, I guess girls who walk around thinking they're pretty all the time really be thinking they're the best. All of a sudden just talking shit about me in front of these girls, and they're looking at her like, what the fuck? And I'm looking at her like, what the fuck is going on? So her whole vibe and energy changed right after I got to meet everybody officially. This color is so pretty. Yeah, look how satisfying this is. Okay, hold on, I started letting y'all see it. But when I started to peep that Ellen was acting mad weird after I met the girls, I was like, okay, so obviously these girls must be like in her mind, because she had a very high school type of mindset. These girls must be considered the popular girls in her brain, and that's why she has to be mean to the girl who seemingly has no friends and doesn't know anybody at school, the new girl. So I was like, oh great, I'm in fucking what's that movie with the pink ones? I'm in that movie, and now I gotta deal with this bitch. So now Ellen's getting really aggressive with me, whether or not the girls are there or not. She starts banging, and I mean repeatedly banging on my door. Now here's a little context. In the school, there was a microwave for the entire building to share. And in my suite, there was one microwave in my room. And I told the suite mates when I first met them all, and we all kikied for the first time, I was like, yeah, no problem, you guys. If you want to use my microwave when I'm home, just let me know. No problem, just ask, right? So I guess Ellen decided to take this as a very big invitation to bang on my goddamn door all the time. None of the other girls like ever took it to that extreme. If they needed it, they'd be like, hey, or they just text me and be like, hey, you know, I got some stuff I want to heat up, like, do you mind if I come in and use your microwave or whatever? And I'd be like, yeah, absolutely, no problem, because I offered for everyone to use my microwave. I really wanted to make friends. Since I didn't have a roommate, it was really important for me to make some college friendships. I was dying to have a good female friend. I just wanted a woman that would understand. Oh my god, now I'm trying to blend on my pimple. I just wanted a woman that could understand me. Like, I wanted to talk to the girls about makeup, but I didn't tell anybody about my TikTok because I was so nervous because of how mean everything was going. I was like, oh my god, I'm scared. But continuing about Ellen, adding some more. But yeah, everything with Ellen started to get real aggressive. She started banging on my door, girl. I was like, whoa, what the hell is going on? So I told her roommate to see if maybe it's just something she does if she was just aggressive like that, and everybody was confused. So everyone's like, no, Ellen's really nice. Like, she's mad cool, da-da-da-da. Like, you can laugh with her. She jokes all the time. Like, nah. And I was like, so Ellen's not mad, weird, and aggressive? I'm like, why, how come she keeps banging on my door? Like, we had an RA in our suite. So I was like, how is she getting away with this every single time? Like, my room was right next to the RA. Like, RA door, my door, Ellen's down the hall. We're all in one suite, but she's like 2 doors down. And yet she's getting away with this every single goddamn day. And I'm like, all right, so now it's time for me to spaz the fuck out, since clearly she's just doing this shit to me. Going for like a no foundation kind of look, so that's why I'm using the Halo Glow. But everything started to click for me when I realized, oh, okay, so she's from Boston and I'm from Boston, but nobody really knew that. Everyone thought I was from Walpole, you know, and for them, they thought I sounded very white. And I was like, okay, whatever. I've heard that shit my whole entire life. I really don't care at this point, but that's what happened. She's thinking that I wouldn't boss up and wouldn't argue with her, wouldn't fight with her. That's what was going on. So when I realized, okay, so they think I'm whitewashed, so they think I won't boss up, they think I won't do anything, and that's why she's trying me so much. I guess it was my time to shine now. And I didn't know what to do, really. I wasn't sure how I was going to calculate it, but I knew the next time she banged on my damn door, I was going to have to do something about it. So now at this point, I'm plotting on what I should do next. I'm like, okay, the next time she bang on my door, what should I do? Like, should I wait for the RA to come, or should I wait for the RA to leave so I can do something more than, you know, what I'd be able to do with the RA there? Because our RA was very passive. She didn't do shit. She just, you know, she would see shit and walk away from shit. She didn't care. She was a super senior. She was there to get her money and to leave, for real. So I was like, okay, that's kind of a dead end. But all of a sudden I hear big boom, 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 stomping. And I was like, okay, it's game time. I got to do it right now. So I hear her approaching my door, so I decide, all right, the second she hits the first bang on my door, I'm about to swing this bitch open and cuss her the fuck out. I'm like, I gotta do this. I decided that if I didn't do it, I would have to be dealing with this for the rest of the year. She's my roommate, my suite mate. I gotta live with you. So that means I have to make sure that I've set boundaries right now, or else I'm screwed. I heard the first boom, and I opened my door, and I was like, I thought I told you before to stop banging on my door, and everything in here is not entitled to you. And she goes, well, you know you're the only person in here with a working microwave, and you know that I need the microwave because I have a lot of frozen foods. And I was like, why do you keep buying frozen foods if you don't have a microwave? You need to buy something else. So, or you need to go downstairs and start using it on the microwave. I'm about to tell you to stop using my stuff, and I already told you need to stop banging on my door like you're paying for it. You're not my roommate. You're not my suite mate. You don't own this door. I'm paying for it by my damn self, which means that you and me are going to keep having an issue if you keep grabbing on my door. She's like, why do you keep locking your door anyways? I'm like, because it's my door to lock. I pay for it. So now we're really getting into it, and the RA ends up being home, bro. The RA comes out her room, but it don't seem like me or her give a flying fuck about her coming out her room, because we're still going at it. She's trying to push past me at this point now to get to my room, to just be like, I'm just going to use it anyways. And I'm like, no, the fuck you're not. So now I'm like, girl, you better cut it out, because I'm for real gonna have to do something if you keep stepping past me right now. She's like, what? And I'm like, oh, you want to talk about some what? Okay, bitch. So I go, Ellen, you need to relax. And now the RA's trying to jump in like, guys, you know, we don't need to start, you know, we don't need to be that loud. Like, seriously. She goes and pushed past me again. My hand reach up and slaps the shit out of her. I don't give a flying fuck. I've had several friends tell me I'm very heavy-handed. So when I slapped the fuck out of her, I knew that shit had to hurt. She kind of just stopped in her tracks and looked at me. And I was like, I literally told you to stop fucking banging on my door. I told you to stop. Now I had to do something about it. What? When I tell you, I was kind of mid-stunned too, because dang, my reflexes kind of ate that day. But she was more stunned than I was. That's for damn sure. Don't do stupid shit if you don't want to get slapped. Now she's shook. The RA shook because she just witnessed, you know, me slapping somebody. So she's like, And I was like, I know, I'm sorry that I just slapped someone in front of you that put you in an awkward position, but she definitely deserved it, so I know I'm not getting in trouble. In conclusion, she never stole or banged on my door ever the fuck again.
I am a victim of the sassy man apocalypse. If you don't know what the sassy man apocalypse is, these men are just sassy as fuck. And I'm going to give you a couple examples of what I've dealt with during the sassy man apocalypse. These men are just like expecting the world, and it's like, babe, we've only been on like 2 dates, barely. This man I was seeing, and you know what? I'm going to address it now. I did delete the TikTok. I deleted the TikTok of like, oh my God, we're doing casual now. We're not doing fucking casual now. I'm over it. I don't want anything to do with that man anymore. I fucking lied. Man I was seeing, barely seeing. When I mean seeing, I was like probably talking for like a couple weeks. Like we went on one official date. Reminder. I invited him over to hang out, and this is like the 3rd time that we just like hung out, cool, relaxed, chill. Gets here, he's like, I'm hungry. Are you going to cook me dinner? I said, are you high as absolute fuck? Why would I cook you dinner? Then I have strict rules on this, and you guys can disagree if you want to, but I'm not going to cook a man dinner who's not my boyfriend or going to be my boyfriend pretty soon. I'm not going to do wifey privileges on like not even like below a girlfriend salary. Like this man has taken me on 1 date. Why the absolute fuck would I cook you dinner? I just have rules. I just have standards. I want to be courted when I'm dating somebody. Like I want them to like make effort, take me to dinner, all those things. And then yeah, eventually I'll cook for you. I'm like a Sunday roast fucking dinner for you like they do in London kind of thing, okay? I will do that for you, but not when you're not giving me the same in return. And like we're just casual. We're just like seeing each other lightly. This man was genuinely upset I wouldn't make him dinner. I said, you're not my man. I'm not going to cook you dinner. This man said to me, who invites someone to their home and doesn't cook them dinner? I said, you've been in this home several fucking times. You know I'm not over there like, hi, dinner's ready. Like you literally know I'm not. It's like maybe if it was something we discussed before, like, oh, we're going to cook dinner together, maybe I'd be a little bit more open to it. But how are you going to walk in my home and expect me to cook you dinner? Why? Don't come. Listen, this is a no forever. Don't come to my home on an empty stomach, babe. I'm simply not doing wifey things on not a wifey fucking salary. And that's my standard, and that's what I'm doing. You want to know why I have this standard? Because I've been the bitch who's cooking like a Sunday roast dinner in a college dorm room for a dumb motherfucker who was not even my boyfriend. And if you give them wifey privileges up front, that's what they're going to expect from you. And they're like, wait, why would I even give her a title when she's already doing everything a girlfriend would normally do? Back to the sassy man apocalypse. This man said to me, it would have been a bonding experience for us to cook together. I said, we don't, mind you, he told me I was annoying him because I was asking him questions while he was watching football. So you don't want to bond. Like you don't want to bond, babe, and that's okay. But don't put like a dinner in front of him and be like, if we were cooking together, that's how we would have bonded. You can't say one thing and your actions are saying something else. It's like you're glued to the screen watching football. You don't want to bond, babe. You just want me to cook you dinner. The sassy man apocalypse gets worse because I told this man, I'm like, no, like you're not sleeping over. Another thing, like I wanted my rest. Honestly, I really just didn't want this fucker to sleep over. But regardless, like I wanted my rest, and I'm not gonna let you just like sleep in my, I really just don't think I wanted him to sleep over. I don't think it has anything to do with me like not being wifey, whatever. And I told him that. He was like, are you fucking kidding me? This man lost his goddamn mind because I didn't want him to sleep over. He was like, yeah, you're never seeing me again. And honestly, I was just so fed up from like you're not making me dinner. Like, why aren't you making me dinner? To like, you're not letting me sleep in your bed. Like, I was like, is this an Airbnb? Like, am I a hotel service to you? Like, you want to sleep in my fucking bed? You want me to wake you with breakfast too? Like, we're not dating, babe. And he's like, yeah, you're never seeing me again. I was like, okay, is that a promise? Please tell me it's a promise. Put it in writing, bitch. He's like, it's literally so rude that you won't let me sleep over. I'm like, it's rude that I want my sleep because I have to be up at 6 a.m. for fucking meetings. I have a job to do tomorrow. It's rude that I want my alone time and I value my alone time and I want to sleep in my bed and get a full fucking 8 hours of beauty sleep. And mind you, I never made an agreement like, hey, you're sleeping over. I never fucking said that because he never was. Just assumed that he'd be sleeping over, and it's like, you think you're gonna sleep in my bed and you're not my man? Like, no. The reason I'm so strict on this shit is because I think of the healthiest relationships I know in my life, and I'm like, yeah, there would be no fucking way that like Matt, my best friend's boyfriend, who's like such an amazing man, would be like, oh, you're cooking me dinner, bitch, and like I'm sleeping in your bed and we've only been on one official date. Like, no, a man that's like really interested and really gonna show himself is gonna court you. He's gonna take you on several dinner dates. He's gonna do all these things, show you that you're wanted, show you that he's fucking interested. And he's not going to expect shit from you in return. It's just something that you're going to wanna do naturally. Like, if you court me properly, I'll wanna do those things for you. Like, I'll wanna cook you dinner. I'll wanna do those things to show you that I'm grateful and I'm appreciative of all that you've put into me. I wanna show you that back. Not a man I was just fucking around with. And don't get me wrong, like I said a million times, because you bitches like to jump down my throats in the comment section. When you're about to be my man, or like I genuinely want you to be my man, I'll be happy to do those fucking things for you. I'll be so happy to do those things for you. Not the man I'm casually just fucked. But basically, it made me realize, like, the sassy man apocalypse is real. Like, these men are out here expecting the fucking world after they're doing the goddamn bare minimum. It's like, you have done shit for me and you want me to cook you up a roast dinner? Like, are you like actually so for real? Like, I just could never imagine. I didn't expect shit from this man. I don't know why he would ever expect me to cook him dinner. Like, are you kidding? Do men court women anymore? Like, is that a normal thing? And it's like, court me properly, you'll get your fucking Sunday roast dinner. I promise you that. End of story. I'm not doing wifey things for a man who's not about to be my man or who isn't my man. And you shouldn't either, babe.
What was the most traumatizing thing that happened to you as a child? I'll go first. All right, so before I tell this story, I need you guys to try to visualize everything I am about to say, because this is crazy. This is my trauma, and I need you guys to experience it with me for this one time. So I was like 3 years old, right? I'm in my room, I'm butt booty naked, jumping on the bed. My little shrimpy's out, going crazy right now. I'm having a great time. The music is on, I'm listening to music, I'm just jumping on the bed like a normal kid does, you know? And what does my sister decide to do? My sister decides to walk in the room. She walked in the room. I get scared. I try to cover up because I don't want my sister to see me fucking naked. And while I cover up, I jump back. There's a little fucking crease in the wall between my bed and the wall. It's like this, and it's pretty fucking small and slim. I fall in between that crease. My body forms the letter U. So please visualize that. I'm like, I don't even know how to explain it. My body's like a U. What happens next? My sister's fucking laughing her ass off. She cannot stop laughing, and that makes me laugh. Because seeing her laugh, I'm like, oh my God, I can't stop. And I start laughing. And what happens when someone laughs too much? They start to pee a little bit. So, think about where I'm going with this. I start peeing. And I'm not talking about a little piss. I'm talking about a stream. The stream of piss goes up. And where does it go? In my fucking mouth. In my mouth. So at this point, I'm going crazy. I'm fucking drowning in my own piss. I'm trying to breathe. My sister's still laughing. I'm like, I start crying. I'm like, help, help. And she's still laughing because there's pee going in her little brother's mouth and it's his own piss. And guys, I would not recommend to drink piss. It does not taste good. 0 out of 10. It's so bitter and sweet. I still remember the taste like it was yesterday. It's disgusting. That's what happened to me as a child. That's what happened to me. And I don't know why I just exposed myself, but I feel like you guys deserve to hear that. So you guys have to live through that trauma too.
I'm autistic, and here's some of the most annoying shit neurotypical people have done to me or said to me. Most people can't tell I'm autistic, and they love telling me that. You think it's a compliment? I told someone I work with I'm autistic the other day, and she said, well, you seem fine to me. I am fine. Thank you. I understand that's well-intentioned, but it's like, girl, having autism is not a bad thing. I know most people can't tell I have autism, and while that can be helpful in some scenarios, it also makes it so that when I exhibit autistic traits, people think I'm making it up. I also run into a lot of people who are like, oh my God, totally cool, you have autism, I will support you in whatever way I can. And then I tell them that I'm getting overstimulated because the music's too loud, and they're like, oh. Okay. I feel like it's because a lot of neurotypical people have no idea what being autistic actually entails. And I feel like more people are talking about it now, which is great. But at the end of the day, they just don't give a fuck to learn, unless it's super easy and thrown at their face. Which I understand to an extent because it's not your lived experience. And how would you know it's so much different than yours if you're not living it or you don't know someone who's living it? But it is pretty exhausting being an autistic person in a world that does not give a fuck about you and does not give a fuck about understanding you either. I swear to God, my entire life, I have been told that autistic traits are just an excuse for what? I don't know. But I heard it so much that I actually started to believe it myself. I actually was told that I was going to outgrow my autism. And I gaslit myself that I did in college. And just this past year, I was like, this is actually like my brain. Not everybody dreads going to the dermatologist because they sit so close to you that you can't figure out how the fuck to make eye contact in a normal way. Like, those rooms are so small. This one I think is the worst one. I'm going to say it. So many people right now want to have autism so fucking bad. And I don't know why. A lot of people are like, oh my god, I hate loud music too. I must be overstimulated. I've got to be autistic. And they self-diagnose and then like claim it super loud. I think some people who self-diagnose are probably autistic for sure. But when people find one trait that's relatable and then they base their whole personality around possibly being autistic, it really delegitimizes like every autistic person's lived experience, because being autistic is not just not liking loud music. It's like a fuck ton more than that, bitch. And it's already not taken seriously as it is. This also goes for people who equate having ADHD with having autism. Like, it's literally not the same. I have both, so that's fucking helpful. And I'm not saying that people with ADHD don't struggle. I am not saying that at all. But what I am saying is just because you have ADHD doesn't make you autistic. Having autism in a neurotypical world is fucking hard, okay? Don't get me wrong, I wouldn't change it for anything. I love being autistic. I just wish the world knew more and cared more about autistic people. So every day isn't like a fight to be understood or to mask in public, you know? Or to mask with friends. Like, it's so funny because friends will be like, oh, you don't have to mask around me. And I'm like, girl, you say that now, but I have lost so many friendships simply because they did not fucking understand what I needed. And it became my fault. They're like, oh, I support you, whatever you need, and then I need something, and it's so fucking inconvenient. I actually stopped myself from telling people I'm autistic because of how many people have told me and acted like it's an excuse in the past. Live, laugh, love, autism.
Trigger warning. Poop. Am I the asshole for canceling my son's birthday party because my mother-in-law left poop on my toothbrush? My mother-in-law watches my 3 kids. They are age 5, 3, and 7 months. My mother-in-law usually watches them and drops them off from school. The kids are battling a stomach virus, so everyone was home on Monday. The little one had a poop explosion.
Oh, God.
So my mother-in-law washed her butt in our bathroom sink. However, she did not clean up after, and there was poop all around the sink, on the toothpaste, on the toothbrushes, and the little cups that the kid used when brushing their teeth. I have pictures if you guys really want to see. This has happened before, but it's the first time we said anything. When my wife called her mom to be more careful because it's obviously disgusting and gross, my wife is Hispanic, so her tone can definitely be aggressive, especially to a gringo like myself, but her mom seemed to understand the frustration. However, once her sisters, both in their 30s and single for good reason, caught wind that my wife belittled their mother, all hell broke loose. The sisters began defending the mother, calling out how dirty/messy our house is, calling my wife fat, and basically saying how lucky we are to have the mother-in-law in our life and it's no big deal. In fact, we're the assholes for being upset about this. I guess the sisters got to my mother-in-law because then mother-in-law came back and started parroting the same talking points about how messy our house is, how ungrateful my wife is, and how my mother-in-law cleans our house and cooks for the kids all the time. The 5-year-old son was also at her house this weekend and had an accident where he Hershey squirted on the bed because he's sick. That was also thrown in our face multiple times. They also referred to watching our kids as favors, which is weird because they always ask to take them. My mother-in-law says she won't come ever again to watch the kids. She no-showed today, so I had to call out today to watch the baby, which is fine. However, I don't like how the mother-in-law is affecting my job and career with her pettiness, as I had some important stuff scheduled today. Keep in mind, we pay her $300 cash a week to watch the kids. Now, I'm going to pay about $150 more per month for someone to watch the kids, which is no big deal really. However, my son's birthday is tomorrow. They had a big old party planned at my mother-in-law's for Saturday. However, I have told everyone that I will not be attending the party, and we have barred her family from seeing, giving gifts, or even speaking to the kids for the time being. Am I the asshole for canceling my son's party and not allowing my wife's family to celebrate his birthday on Saturday?
Am I in the wrong for ending a family naming tradition by not giving my son my late nephew's name as his middle name, even though my sister has said that she wants me to? My family has always had this tradition where the first child born after the loss of someone in our family gets the late family member's name as their middle name. My sister and I both have those middle names. Hers is Patricia after a cousin of our mom's, and mine is Denise after my dad's aunt. Almost a year ago, my sister lost her 2-day-old son, Philip. He was the last family member we lost, and it was a huge, earth-shattering blow for our family. I found out that I was pregnant a few months ago. I waited a while to tell anyone, and my sister was the first person we told. When I told her, she said it would be nice to have some positive news to focus on, and that she wanted me to continue the tradition our family keeps and give my baby, if a boy, the middle name Philip. She was so happy about the idea. It surprised me a lot. I would have figured that she would not be okay with it, but she wanted it. The problem is, my husband and I do not want to continue the tradition. We do not want to give our son the middle name Philip. The name isn't one either of us likes or would ever pick ourselves. We have not announced the sex of our baby yet, but my husband and I know we're expecting a boy. My family was saying how amazing it'll be if my baby is a boy and Philip's name can be carried on. I suggested that they wait until we announce the sex and name before jumping to conclusions. They asked why, and I said that we were thinking of not continuing with the tradition. My family, and by that I mean my parents mostly, were really upset. My sister was the worst though. She asked why I wouldn't want to honor Philip and why it was him the tradition was getting broken on. She asked if I saw him as meaning so little, and I said no, of course not. Then she asked if it was his name and we didn't like it. She said that she really hoped it wasn't that. I said we just didn't feel like the tradition was something that we wanted to continue. The decision has brought up a lot of bad feelings, and my sister is especially angry and thinks I'm being insensitive and showing how little I care for my nephew. I feel terrible. She's so angry at me, and my parents are unhappy as well. My husband hates them for putting this pressure on us. He said we should be allowed to name our son what we want and we should not be obligated to use a certain name. I never wanted to be an a-hole, but my family believes that I am. So, am I in the wrong?